Hello and welcome to Zeta Chivalry to Survivor Runs. Today's map is Bridgetown, and I'm playing with a throwing axis as a skirmisher class. I find this combo rather a bit lackluster compared to javelins, and also since the skirmisher has quite a big window between throwing axes, where he's vulnerable to any damage. This is the reason why it's not so popular. Without further ado, let's start commenting the run itself. So actually you would be surprised that throwing axe cannot insta-kill peasant. Mainly because it has armor amplification, but the peasant does not have any armor. So yeah, javelin actually can one-shot peasant, but not the throwing axe. However, if you throw headshots, then that is a possibility. Unfortunately, when you throw stuff and friendlies are in the front, very often you land your axes on your friendlies. So you either have to jump, but this class also has very limited stamina, so sometimes it's not an option. So for bows and crossbows, I mean, it's much easier to manage stamina, but not for this class. So yeah, also the drop is quite substantial. So 68 damage for armored opponent. So it actually does around maybe 60 or 55 damage against the peasant, but peasant has more HP than that. So yeah, it's not that good against peasant too. Actually, the one-handed axe is much better than thrown axe. But of course, I actually got rid of all my thrown axes, so I have to fend off with this one. It's actually good. It's helpful. Otherwise, the hitboxes to land the hit with the thrown axe is much harder than with a one-handed axe. So yeah, also what is not very helpful is that you are low HP, so you often have to go back, heal with this class, as well as get all those axes you're missing in your loadout. You can pick up from the enemy, but if you're throwing and spamming throws, then very often you won't be able to find them. So yeah, nice headshot now. So a headshot does a lot, over 100 damage. So with 2 headshots you can kill the enemy. Actually, enemy knight can be killed with 1 headshot and 1 body shot. But landing headshots is a bit tricky with this weapon, because I believe it has drops more, substantially more than javelin or any other thrown weapons. Or any other range weapons, sorry. Yeah, so I mean, if you see somebody already in blood, so that's probably the best time you can use your thrown axes. Like so. I mean, also headshot, 107 damage. So substantial, but again, that's because enemy was red. I was able to insta-kill him. If he had full HP, yeah, it would have taken me 1 additional hit. Yeah, and also very tricky, since it doesn't fly as good as other thrown weapons. You have to get in close and personal, but that also means exposing yourself. So it's fun hitting people, but you also have to be very careful about people not actually getting into the space where they can actually hurt you. And now from practically close quarters, I could not land my thrown axe again. See enemy. Yeah, I landed 1 at the enemy archer and still did not kill him. So 55 damage to an armored opponent, so no wonder why even peasant survives it with a straight face and can still keep on fighting. Javelin does more damage. So, actually I like throwing weapons. For example, I like mallets. They're quite versatile. Because basically you have a main weapon, and if somebody runs away, I mean, it would be bad to throw away your main weapon. And here, a perfect example of why it is important not to throw at the enemy who's running at you. You will lose it. You basically will be hit for free, because there is a window between throwing a weapon and then picking up another throwing axe from whatever, a scabbard or a belt, and that window you cannot block. So therefore you have to be very careful when you throw. Yeah, it's a bit counterintuitive. I mean, for crossbows, for example, you have to press the button to initiate, that you're actually reloading the bolt. With throwing axes, it's not like this, it's automatically. So if you don't want, I mean, you see, I mean, I'm vulnerable in those times when, yeah, picking up the second, you know, axe after throwing. So yeah, that's a bit counterintuitive. But yeah, what can I do? So for this reason, I don't really like skirmishers too much. Although damage-wise they do fine, especially in tight spaces. When enemy is stationary or in the big chunks, so you can actually, the big clumps, so you can actually hit, you know, throw whatever you want and you will hit the enemy. Right, not particularly lucky here. Also, since I'm a skirmisher, I have the same amount of health as the archer. So I can be one-shotted by enemy wobble, which is undisputably the best weapon in archer classes and subclasses. So yeah, unless it's a siege map, so then also the siege crossbow is really good. All the rest, I mean, javelins are still fine, but the throwing axe is probably the worst weapon in the loadout of thrown weapons of skirmisher. Yeah, that's my view. Again, you might have different feeling. Maybe you're more sort of have better expertise. So whenever you have it in a melee fight, it's not too bad. I mean, it's still, I think it's a bit better than the javelin in the melee, because of it can actually slash and hit several opponents in the same time. So this is beneficial for you when you're fighting one against many. But other than that, I feel like javelin surpasses thrown axes in every way, in every other situation. So yeah, now again using this ballista to reduce the health of the Bridgetown gate. It is important, every little helps. So again, if all three ballistas are working at the same time and they actually are available as soon as the objective switches, then you could get it down to maybe not 1/3 but something like 1/4. You can remove 1/4 of health. Now we managed to do something like 1/6 of the total HP with 3 ballistas. It was still substantial, so will help our team regardless. So yeah, and also, you know, it's automatically destroyed and then you have to run away. Run away to the front. So yeah, a bit tricky when you're trying not to explode yourself, and I see an archer who can insta-kill me. So we'll land it to my throwing axes at him, and he still survived. He was knocked though, so I was awarded kill. Now, again, throwing axe dismembered an opponent. Helpful. And now I see enemy is running away. Of course, he had absolutely no weapon, so anybody could take him down. But I scored the kill. So yeah, I mean, this is what it is with this weapon. You have to get close and personal, but not too close in the melee range. So something like maybe from 5 to 10 meters. It's the best to use this weapon. Otherwise, again, it will be a bit lackluster because of the drop. And also it flies relatively slowly, so anticipating what the enemy will be and where you have to throw is additional challenge. So yeah, but other than that, the shield helps to survive somewhat. Again, whiffed my hit from behind the opponent. And now I cannot throw because the enemy is going at me. But yeah, in melee fights, they're fine, the throwing axes. Except, yeah, now I almost died because friendlies damaged me and also gave the enemy active parry. So when fighting 3 against 1, you have to remember that if friendlies are hitting with slashes only, then any competent enemy will be able to do a counter to calculate which one of his opponents are landing the hit first and base his counter on this and be invulnerable for a certain amount of time. So yeah, it's quite terrible that you know, all three Denosians who were engaged were slashing or hitting. I mean, I did overhit, I'm fine, but the others were just slashing, where instead somebody should have stabbed and the other should have probably kicked or jabbed. So yeah, I mean, for my class, probably jabbing is not the best, but even though the shield delivers quite a bit of damage when jabbing. So I see an enemy in red. Unfortunately, I landed my thrown axe on friendly. And now an enemy. I heard the enemy is coming from behind, because enemy footsteps are louder. Now, due to the friendly, you know, standing behind me, I could not see the enemy, because the friendly blocked it from behind me. These are the quirks of using the third person to play Chivalry 2. Although situational awareness is still greater when you play as a third person. So this is why I do it. I mean, not with all weapons, but definitely with those. For example, for bows and crossbows, I usually take first person. Usually, not always, but usually. So yeah, I'm quite low on HP. Like, I had literally no HP, but was healed by the friendly, who threw a healing whatever. Not sure how it's called, like healing bandage. So yeah, tight spaces. Now I'm able to anticipate some of the enemy's movements. But then friendly again gave the enemy active parry. So I'm just there receiving damage and not delivering it. So, and for an archer who needs just 2 hits of normal swings to die, it's quite tough. So if you are hit once, don't continue to overcome the enemy, just escape. It's not your job, especially when the enemy is intentionally empowering, when friendlies are intentionally empowering the enemy by letting him use active parry. So yeah, but anyone who played for longer probably knows it. On the right side I saw a hanging item that can insta-kill me, so I'm not going through right. Actually was able to also revive friendly, although that's risky again if you are stationary for some time. Then enemy archers can kill you. I mean, I do it all the time if I am able to pick out an archer when I'm playing an archer, so I will go for him because it's one hit kill, which is very satisfying. Unless the enemy is overhealed by, you know, some items, like healing horns. Or the banner. So far, this map is going quite well. I mean, there's 1 minute and a half left. We're at the penultimate objective. This is not too hard objective to take, but it requires team's effort. Now, after receiving some firepot, I have to retreat, otherwise, again, I'm 1 hit away from dying. This is especially, you know, hurtful to be an archer and receive a hit, so you have to always go back and heal or whatnot if you plan to survive. Again, it looks like there's clumps of enemies, and I was able to dismember one. I see another dismember. Interestingly, I mean, I cannot land a single kill, and then at the end I landed one. So still a lot of damage done. I mean, but you know, all 6 items have been thrown, so I have to go and pick them up from the ammo crate. This is quite annoying, but this is how it plays. With Archer, you basically have longer staying power. But with Skirmisher, you don't. You just throw away your unlimited inventory and then you have to go back. I double checked if my ranging is fine. It was fine. Although enemies are strafing, so not always landing the thrown axes. Yeah, so the last stage now. Still, I see a lot of enemy archers. And it's a bit tough to land a hit when they're also moving. And I'm using third person. And you see it landed on the legs. Although I was aiming just above the head. So yeah, the drop is significant with this weapon. I mean, it's comparable to, you know, simple crossbow. Although I'm not sure why the single crossbow has such a, you know, great drop rate. So the projectiles drop quite significantly with each crossbow. Now very nice to, yeah, 2 kills in a row. These things happen, but again, I'm just low on inventory. Landed another thrown axe, and then have to retreat to increase my inventory. Now I don't mind playing with a one-handed axe when I'm out of thrown axes. As I said, one-handed axe is the best one-handed weapon there is. And you saw it's quite easy to get rid of any enemy with it, and also it works against many enemies too. I see enemies following. I have a retreat route. I can always go back to the left and just drop if I'm quite healthy. If not, that's a bit you know, another issue. So I have to figure out how to escape. So now the escape is through the window. I mean, the way we are throwing out the normals. You can also escape through the windows, but just not to the enemy spawn. No, this side is to the enemy spawn, but the other side is not. So yeah, you have to always be mindful about your escape routes, or else you won't survive. Because not always, especially if you are playing with shitty weapons, not always you are able to stand there against the pressure of multiple opponents. So this is a good opponent. Left me alone, but unfortunately he probably didn't know what drag is. Anyhow, the map is ending. I've scored 25 kills and it was okay run. Did not enjoy it much, but it wasn't too cumbersome anyway. I hope you like it more than me, and thank you for watching, and see you next time.